Welcome, 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 everyone, to Inspire, Innovate, and Ignite, hosted by sacredyou.love. And this is a universally minded community that provides weekly panel discussions guaranteed to always grab your curiosity and maybe change your perspective about life just a little bit more. Tonight, our conversation will dive deep into the metaphysical dimension of life beyond the physical. Our panelists, Denise Blackney and Natasha Sharma, are exceptional women and chosen because they bring a new way of looking at our topic. These incredible experts in their fields will be introducing themselves in a moment and telling us a little bit about themselves and why tonight's topic gets them a little bit excited. So I'm going to ask you, Denise, to start. Tell us a little bit about you and why tonight's topic about the metaphysical dimension of life beyond the physical might just get you a little bit excited. Oh, you are muted, Denise.
Thank you, Sue. I'm very happy to be here. Yes, it does get me excited. What I actually love doing, and that is my purpose in life and my whole life, is that I help people self-heal. I teach and support. So we work together unraveling where they are at the time and getting to the causal roots of their emotions, their pains, and healing and feeling. And as we go on that journey, they take on all the tools that I have and that I've known and that I've learnt over many years to take and be their own. Because I believe that everyone, this should be our natural state of being, is that we were able to self-heal. So, yeah, that's my journey. I've been doing this for many, many years. I would say, it's been innate, but I feel that it's really come out in the last 20 years, really building up on it and opening myself up to it, which really brings me to the metaphysical, is that, we think it's all out there, but it's us ourselves, that we are just more than just flesh. We are part of everything, and we all have the ability. Every single human being has the ability to be and know that part of everything, and to use it to their desires. So yeah, very excited to be here and share what I know and what I've been. So
I'm excited to hear how you're going to weave that into answering the questions that we're going to be answering. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Natasha Sharma, tell us a little bit about you and why you're excited about this.
By profession, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. So, of course, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind and the metaphysical of the mind, body, soul is just part and parcel of my training. Like Denise, I've spent my the last 20 years walking my own journey of self-awareness and healing. So metaphysical is obviously ingrained in every part of what I do, but coming up to a panel like this and talking with people like you guys gives an opportunity to really expand what we do on a day-to-day basis with our clients or our tribes, and to really sort of blow the lid off things and go up the spiral a little bit more. And that's why I'm here, and I'm excited to be here and be the disruptor.
You're the disruptor, and we are all going to put it all back together again in a slightly different way, right?
Absolutely.
So when people leave here, they leave with a slightly different perspective on the metaphysical. So I'm Sue
That's the hope.
Rumack. That's the hope. That's our plan. I'm Sue Rumack, and I'm our panel host. I also made up the topic because I thought it was really a cool topic. I've been a life coach for 18 years, and I was an entrepreneur for my entire career before all of that. I've been a channeler since I was a very young child, and I traveled out of body the very first time when I was 8 years old and came back with guides telling me all the cool stuff that I didn't know. And I've been relying on the metaphysical, believe it or not, to keep me grounded my whole life. And so when I work with my clients, I'm a life coach, of course, and my specialty is empaths, highly sensitive people who are on the verge of burnout, moving through overwhelm, and giving them the tools, not just the metaphysical, but the psychological and the physical tools, the energy tools, to bring themselves back into alignment and to re-regulate themselves into both the physical and the metaphysical at the same time, because we're walking that path every single day in our waking lives and in our sleeping lives. So I do wear many hats, and I am so looking forward to this conversation. I'd like to introduce it just as an overview, if that's okay, before we get to our I'm not going to call it a debate because this is really a deeper conversation. And I'm going to write down what I was given when I started putting this whole panel conversation together. And my guides pop in and they say, okay, this is what we're going to say. I'm not this smart. Metaphysical concepts like consciousness and energy relate to our understanding of life affirmation. The spirit-inspired conversation will attempt the impossible. And all of these lovely ladies are our handpicked panel of experts. We're going to be dancing with how consciousness and energy are separate pieces of ourselves that can be harnessed to enhance our experience of life. Make sense so far? Great. And we three are going to be deconstructing how simple meditation and energy healing tap into the metaphysical dimension. It's not simply a tool, it leaps the barrier. So all of us who are going to be participating, including our audience, are going to be questioning how the interconnectedness of all life at the subatomic level controls your life vibrancy. That just sounds like a whole bunch of gobbledygook, but when we actually get into talking about it, it's going to make sense, okay? So life affirmation might even extend to exploring theories about parallel universes in ways that could influence the choices that we make in our daily lives. So that's what I was being told to give to our audience and to give to you. And I don't know if you received this prior to our conversation tonight. I kind of hope that you did, because I sent a whole bunch of information that was supposed to be sent on to you guys. So we've got a number of questions, and I'm going to start with the very simplest one, which relates to our audience. And I'm going to ask you both to unmute yourselves. We're not going to have me calling on you, you calling me. It's going to be just a normal conversation between three amazing ladies, including me. I'm amazing too. I'm glad you laughed at that. Thank you. That makes me feel less weird. How do you explain the metaphysical state to someone who has no knowledge that it exists? And the next question is, do you believe it exists? How do you explain it to somebody who may not have any knowledge that it exists?
Yeah, I'd like to start on that. As we all know, and I would say a lot of people that come and listen to this are already knowing that energy is energy and energy is everything. And the metaphysical is that how I see it and how I've known it to be is that when I move through stuff, when I clear stuff out of my life, out of my emotions, then I step into the new realm of me, the new metaphysical of me, the new dimension of me that touches everything around me. So it's about it's such an inner journey to touch the outer world in the sense of, because we touch everything. So I think yeah, I feel that we open ourselves to more than who we are, why we are, where we are, what we are. That touches into the next dimensions, that touches into the next layers of the spheres of the universe, which, because there's so many layers of the universe that every time we move through stuff and step out of the old and step into the new, we step into the new sphere. And then we start exploring that. And then that uncovers stuff too about ourselves that we need to shed as well. And that's through healing. And then we step into the next sphere. And I know, and I believe there's what comes to me, there's 22 spheres. And in each sphere, there's layers to those spheres that we reach, and then we move into the next big sphere. That is a real opening for us.
I don't imagine we could go through 22 layers in a single lifetime. I think it would take a lot of work.
Yeah, and the more that we step into the next sphere, the more that we feel everything around us. Instead of, that comes that we get to feel. Instead of the world telling us how we should be, we know how to be.
So it's a knowingness, a sense that these other spheres, as we uncover them, we are able to step into them.
Yeah,
but not until we do uncover them.
That's
they
right.
don't necessarily come looking for us. Thank you. Let's turn this over to Natasha, because I can see the gears moving there. Natasha, I can see you're thinking very deeply. So how do you explain the metaphysical state to someone who has no knowledge that it actually exists?
So in a way, I'll take inspiration from what Denise said, that if you think of the metaphysical as a container that holds us, and as incarnated beings, we are here in the flesh on 3 levels, at least 3 that we can perceive: mind, body, soul, or spirit, whatever you want to call it. And in this 3-dimensional world of planet Earth, we are not supported to know that the 3 are one. So all of them are separate. And then we spend our healing journey to understand that we are one. The mind, body, and spirit is one. And that is what is metaphysical. Like if you talk about any physical disease or injury, that's a metaphysical, because the metaphysical is beyond the physical of the separation. So when you bring it together, you realize that the mind causes disease and disease causes unrest in the mind, and vice versa. And the container is the energy, which Denise is saying is the spiral and the universe. So for a person who's new to this, who doesn't even understand or has heard the word, this is the introduction, that there is more than you have been taught. There is more than you have perceived. And the first step is to understand that all of you is one. It's not separate. Your body does not belong to the hospitals, and your mind doesn't belong to the psychiatrist, and your emotion or your spiritual doesn't belong to the church. It all belongs to you first, and then you expand out to experience your life. And that is the metaphysical.
Wow. And I love the way that each of you wove from the other into your own understanding of it, your own experience of it. Now, Natasha, I know you've been studying this as part of your culture as well for, I would assume, pretty much all of your life.
It's been part of it. It's been part of it. I'm very I think I've been designed and put on earth for a specific agenda or purpose, like people like to say, but I've not been born into one faith. My parents were from different faiths from their families, but both of them believed in nothing except for righteousness. They both fought anti the Vietnam War and fought on grassroots for human rights. So religion and spirituality hasn't actually figured in my programming. So I've been actually free for my whole life to explore. And like any child, you want the opposite of what you're given. So because I had no dogma and no sort of like framework, I thirsted to find out. So I looked into my mother's religion, I looked into my father's religion, I looked into the religion of the school I was going to and the place I was living in, because my parents moved around a lot. And so I've just been blessed to actually have had quite an introduction and immersion into pretty much all the major religions and spiritual purviews of the world. And I think that's what adds to my ability to step back and realize that they're all saying the same thing.
How beautiful is that? Thank you for
It
just
is.
giving us an equalizer right across cultures. I love that. If it's okay with you, I know as host, I'm not really supposed to share my opinions, but I'm going to anyway, because we are a
Please
small
do.
panel tonight. Okay, I'm taking license. I'm just going to own the thing. Okay, so and again, like Natasha, I had no spiritual training in any of this, but being a channeler, I asked a lot of questions, and my guides very kindly gave me a lot of answers. And when I asked, what is all of this about? And this was years and years ago. They came back and said, well, mind, body, spirit, that's not it. It's not all of it. Mind, body, spirit is the beginning, but it's not all. I went, okay. Is it mind, body, soul? And they went, no, not mind, body, soul either. There's difference between spirit and soul. And it's a dimensional difference. So spirit is the karmic part. It's the experiential part of us. It's the storyteller that looks at everything that happens in our lives, which we could look at and assume as being um, one phase of who we are, one face of who we are, our experiences. Soul is that universal part of us that's connected to the God spirit, whatever source, whatever you want to call it, and the truth teller. So spirit is the storyteller. Soul is the God spirit, which always tells us the truth and always connects us back to source. And then they said, but there's one more. And they took years to really unravel this for me. Small brain, small learning, takes time to embed. And finally, one day they came back to me and said, oh, yeah, and there's electrical essence. I said, excuse me? Electrical essence. They said, yeah, because you've got mind, body, spirit, our storyteller, soul, the truth teller, and connection. And the electrical essence is the electrical vibration, electrical current, if you want to call it the God spark, that actually gives and sustains life in the human body and every single cell of every living creature, every living being, every living plant, water, air. So there's the electrical essence that is another vibrational dimension through which we communicate with this world, with our bodies, and with the universe. So for me, the metaphysical is much like what Denise said, many different spheres, phases, slices of who we are. And as Natasha said, it's a universal connection to everything else. And as we heal, both of our ladies also said, as we heal, we take all of that information into our bodies and minds and make sense of it. We recreate it in our own understanding of it. So our world becomes our world. So that's my take on it. Whew. Okay. Next question. Okay, are you ready? Get ready. Here it comes. What role do altered states of consciousness, such as meditation or psychedelics, play in accessing those dimensions? Mind, body, spirit, electrical essence, or any of the other dimensional pieces of us, those slices, phases of us. What role do altered states of consciousness play in accessing our other dimensions? Who'd like to start?
Okay, I will.
Denise, why don't you take this?
Okay, altered states of consciousness. That's a really interesting question. I've not tried psychedelics, but in my younger days I did drugs. So your normal marijuana, and there's many different types of people go into alcohol to change their state because they're not happy with the state they're in. So psychedelics, for me, made me feel out of control, which is the purpose of psychedelics, to show you what you need to see. But meditate. So I can't talk a lot on that because I'm not experienced in that. But I've been told that a lot of people get a lot of epiphanies, a lot of soul finding, that sort of stuff. But I'm very much about meditation. Meditation is about, how does it alter us? It helps us stop. It helps our busyness stop. We get stuck in the, I've got to be everywhere and I'm nowhere. So meditation helps us stop, and it doesn't stop the busyness straight away. It just brings us back to ourselves. You know, it's like people say, well, my mind still goes crazy when I'm meditating. Well, just breathe, concentrate on your breathing and go, oh, I walked, you know, I got lost again. So bring myself back and breathe, because there's the space of nothingness in that sense, the void, the beautiful creation of everything that we don't get to see because we're so busy in the mind. So it's just teaching ourselves, coming back to the place, oh yes, breathe. And it changes how we feel. It changes the state of everything around us. We're not hyped up anymore. We go into thinking again, and we bring ourselves back again. So we're actually teaching ourselves to alter ourselves. Not everything around us, but ourselves, to come into a space of, I say, void, you know, just that blank canvas that I get to touch into to create what I want to create and what is to be seen that's here for me.
And
Does
we
that
could
make
call
sense?
that, yes, it does. We can actually call that a metaphysical state, because
Yes.
you're taking yourself out of yourself into yourself to find something that you're looking for. Interesting.
Yeah, because everything
Did
on
that,
the outside of us is, you know, so worldly. We're just so busy getting on with the norm, we say. But when we come back and we stop, it's purely ourselves. So it's learning to come back to ourselves, so we can, as we expand in that, then we can go out to the world in that. And that
I
be
love that.
our state of being. Yeah.
And I would say to our viewers as well, that if you're not familiar with metaphysical states and you want to experience a metaphysical state for yourself in a safe way, meditation is probably the least dangerous, or least the most accessible
Yeah.
for an altered state of mind.
Yeah. And also,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
I was gonna actually go ahead,
Sorry.
finish.
I was just going to say, even, you know, meditation, part of meditation is walking amongst the fields, walking along the tracks, sitting in the grass, just hearing things around you, like the birds, the breeze through the tree. That's changing your metaphysical state as well. So
Brilliant. And so simple. So it's elegantly simple.
Yeah.
Natasha, I saw you nodding your head, and I know you've got something to say on this.
So it's like what Denise said. I personally don't have any experience with psychedelics myself, like in terms of having partaken in them. But I do know people who have, and everyone has glowing reports and experiences. And the one observation that I have had from them telling me is, they, at least the people I know, because of the altered state, chemically altered state, have managed to sort of pierce the veil at a certain point, and then they see something beyond. And that's where the addiction steps in, because they want to try to reach there again and again and again, and most of the time they fail. And that's where it becomes addiction. So I don't have any judgment here, because there's mushrooms, there's plant medicine, there's a lot of stuff that the shamans and stuff do that is with responsibility, taking people on these journeys. So All I have to say is that I once heard a quote that it's like looking in through a window. It's like a cheat sheet. When you use any kind of like altered substances to alter your being, it's a cheat sheet. And then because you've cheated, then you can't get back in again. So you're at a window, you're looking in, but you'll never find the door. And the way to the door is what Denise is saying. And so what you were also, you corroborating what Denise said, is coming back to yourself, understanding that each of us is unique. So there's no one template for everybody. There's meditation in this way or meditation in that way. I'll sit on the lotus position under a Bodhi tree, or I'll light incense and have an altar, or I'll sit in nature or walk amongst the breeze and the trees. It looks different for everybody. The point is to be with yourself, to be healed within yourself and traverse the 22 spheres of your own consciousness. Everyone needs to take responsibility for themselves, 100% responsibility for thoughts, feelings, emotions, and experiences. And then find conversations like what we are having and tap into what works for you, and then turn it to yourself. There is no one guru, one teacher, one panel that's going to give anyone all the answers, because we're all different.
That is so true. So true. And, in my own experience, what I found that, well, first of all, like the three of us, like both of you, I've never done drugs of any kind. And the reason that I didn't was because I lost my mother in a very tragic way when I was 19. And it was so impactful that I felt that if I took myself out of body using a drug or a psychedelic or any of that kind of thing, I felt I'd never get back in again, because it would just take me too far and I wouldn't be able to find myself, because I was just holding on by such a fine thread at that point. And then it just became habit. I got married, I had kids. There was no reason for me to do psychedelics or anything else like that. And I meditate my own way. I have my own guides. I do my dreaming. So I was traveling metaphysically, astrophysically. And so I didn't need to do the drugs. And I think that three of us who've each had very different life experiences, and we didn't know at the time when we came on this panel that none of us had ever done psychedelics, ever.
True.
Okay. We did not know that because we've never had that conversation. And yet each one of us is saying that we're not judging those people who do. We are saying that there are different ways for different people to get out of body and hopefully to get back in body safely. Like Natasha is saying, it can become such a crutch to try and find that. Like you said, you're peering in through that. You pierce the veil, and now you're peering in through that little window. Well, and then you want to get back there. Maybe you had one really good experience and you want to get back there, and then it becomes the addiction of getting back. And it's never the same twice. So what I discovered is that if I allow myself to go very quiet within my body and ask the question that is most uppermost in my mind, or maybe it's the question that's layered so deeply that I don't even know that it's there. And then I get very quiet with that. Now, I can either sit there and think about it, but that usually doesn't work for me because I get too many busy thoughts. I'll go for a walk. I'll go into the woods. I'll go put my feet in the stream. I'll take a shower. Shower is that for me, being in water, surrounded by water, water all over me. Hot water, never cold water. Ugh, no, not cold water, but but water itself, even washing dishes, just having the water running over my hands, not using the dishwasher, for me, that's meditative. And that gets me into that zone where I'm actually out of body. Now, it takes a long time to wash dishes when you're out of body, but they eventually get done. When I need them, they'll get done. I do not have a dirty kitchen. My kitchen is very clean. But what I am saying is that for those people who do psychedelics, if they take you where you need to be taken, you get the answers that you're looking for, and you come back whole and healthy, okay. If, on the other hand, if I know what you're going to say, Denise, no, I don't. I'm going to let you say it in a second. But if, on the other hand, you don't come back whole and healthy, you come back confused, broken, lost, there are other ways that you can take yourself into the meditative state, into the metaphysical state, to reach that state of consciousness or unconsciousness that you're looking for. Denise, you were going to say something and I didn't let you finish.
No, that's all right. I'd love to add here. I'm working on this path at the moment that lots of channelings coming through that, as children, we learn to love. Love is the greatest force on this universe. It's the highest vibration on this universe. And love is learned. We learn it from our parents from the day we're born. And I always know there's 3 states of love. It's our learnt love, our natural love, and divine love. And when we are in learnt love, it's like Natasha says, her parents went to they came from different dominations. And because they didn't think anything of it, they didn't teach you it, but you become explorative yourself to find out your answers. But when we learnt love, and it's so impacted on us, and it's such a big impression, and it's generational, and then what happens is we then decide that's what love is. So we're not working from our own self-love. We're working from a learnt love. And that's what, this metaphysical state is we're carrying somebody else's state of being except for our own. So for us to uncover that, we have to uncover ourselves, and that's through meditation. And like you were saying, Sue, about the drugs, when we want to take that, and Natasha, the cheat sheet, that's because we want to do it right here and now, which is okay. But when we're not getting the answers, it's about then coming back to ourselves again and really uncovering what love is for myself, not what my parents taught me, not those conditions of what love is. What is the truth of love for myself? Because that'll open us right up to see the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifference. And once we do go through all those layers, we go into the next sphere. And then we go into the next sphere. And then the truth just keeps opening to us. And we see so really much yummy. More. Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
So what you're really talking about, Denise, is portals, metaphysical portals. And for you and the people who are searching for what you're searching for, love really is the portal that leads you into the different dimensions of love that you as a human being need to explore to create that wholeness, that completeness in you.
Well, that's where you find yourself, isn't it?
Universally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you find yourself more and more in that, and let go of everybody else's thoughts and opinions of yourself, and what, the learnt love that you've taken on, you let that go, and what love is truly for you, you step into more and more portals. The universe will just open up to you. It's just, I'm tingling. It's magical.
It is. Natasha, I know you've got thoughts on portals that lead to various metaphysical states that the human being can take themselves to. Metaphysical states, not necessarily out there in the universe states, but metaphysical within us, but also tapping into outside of us, ourselves. Any thoughts? Portals.
I definitely have thoughts on it, and I've definitely had a lot of experience with it. But again, I'm very hyper aware of how people are unique, to repeat what I was saying before, and everyone's journey within and without is individual. It's shaped by what Denise said about learned love. It's shaped by our beliefs, our values, our karmic path, our incarnation, and all that. So many layers. And even our experiences in the incarnated self of stepping out of the body, whether it's through astral travel or the dream work or metaphysical, till we don't actually go all the layers down to our self healing, reached a point where we've actually mastered self-awareness. And self-awareness to me means that we're aware of everything about ourselves, good, bad, and ugly, and we're able to accept and embody it all without judgment. And that journey is long, although the timeline definitely is accelerating, and the new generation is doing it much faster than the three of us have generationally.
Yes.
But which is positive. It just gives us hope for the present and the future. But from our point of view, it's been an unlayering and unraveling and an embodying of all these layers to reach self-awareness, so that we can be part of the self-love in order to then invite in divine love. I'm taking Denise's thing and putting it into my experience and projecting it out there, but that's what it is. And portals, I mean, honestly, it's the same as the psychedelics and accessing the metaphysical. To me, it's all just part of the carnival of being incarnated. They all exist, and you can visit whatever you have access to in this incarnation, but that is actually not the purpose. We're incarnated at this point in time and space for a specific reason, for a specific purpose, and all we need to do in this lifetime is just be. We need to heal, embody, and just be in alignment, balanced. No past, no future, here, present, looking at everything with intense gratitude and joy that transmutes into love, and then just be. Whether that be your bills coming in or your friends fighting or whatever, it is just being, and that is what it is. And then sure, you can astral travel if you want, you can go through all the portals if you want to, but why in this carnation, and why at this point in time and space?
And I'll add to that, when you know the truth of the essence of who you are, you have no expectation of anything. Everything you move through, it's just an experience. And when you move through it, and this is after you've let go of all those layers of all those imprinted and emotions and trauma and what there is there. But once you get to this truth and this essence, what happens there is the expectation is just, I get to experience this. And I get to feel and heal in that moment. Because when I'm feeling everything, whether it's good, whether it's bad, I get to express how I'm feeling with that at that moment. Then I move on to the next. I don't carry that baggage. I don't carry those emotions because I felt them. That's our true essence of being right here, right now, which is just so beautiful. And then that is felt by the rest of the world. We don't consider, when we say metaphysically, and you say, what I know is that we all go out and we touch every single human being on this earth. We just don't realize it. What we think, what we say, what we think goes and touches everybody.
It's like that butterfly effect, when the butterfly flaps its wings, when you think a thought, it's an energetic vibe, it's a radio signal.
Absolutely.
Even if you haven't spoken that thought, you have embodied it. Your body has let that wave just essence out from you, roll out from you, and it touches everybody. It changes them in some way, and they do the same, and they do the same, and they do the same, so that it does touch each and every person. Even a child's smile, a child's laugh will touch the entire world in some way. So I'd like to come back to this portals idea for a moment, okay? Whether or not you realized that each of you was talking about opening up different portals to go through them, to experience something. And Natasha, when you say our entire purpose on this life, on this world, in this lifetime is to be, that's exactly the message that I have been given for years, is that our purpose is already defined. We are living it in every single moment. And exploring various aspects of ourselves, as Denise is just talking about, and Natasha, is actually opening up a portal that allows us to be and experience. Where we get lost as people, metaphysically, is that we try to direct the journey. We try to shape it so that it has an outcome that we intention. So I'm going to ascend in the next 6 months. I'm going to be there. Well, no, you're not. It doesn't work that way. You'll be there. You're there right now. You're already there. And whatever you do in the next day, week, month, year is just taking you to more levels of who you are in that ascension. And there is no upper limit to it where you can say, I have arrived, I have ascended, I am now an ascended being. You are always that ascended. You were born an ascended being. You're just experiencing your different levels of it at this moment. And this is another piece of metaphysical life. I think that people put too much stress on themselves to become more perfect, more angelic, not as in, and now I'm going to get my halo and my wings and I'm going to be an angelic person, more universally evolved, I think, would be the terms that I would use.
Yeah, and I love that.
And we don't have to. We don't have to do that, do we?
No, and I love that because everything we do, it's like an action and a reaction. We have a feedback for everything we say, we do, everything we action. So if we're not listening to our feedback, we miss the message. We miss the message of, oh, okay,
Yes.
that's not good for me. Like you say, I want to be here in 6 months. The universe will conspire for that to happen. It truly does. But it's not going to give you, oh, yes, it's a really easy road. It's going to give you everything you need to look at. So when I hit this brick wall, that's my feedback to say, hey, I really need to look at this and ask the question, why is this coming up for me? And it might be an emotion, it might be a thought, it might be something that has happened in your past, but it's something for us to address and heal. So therefore, the universe goes, okay, we've moved through there. Let's go to the next step. Everything has a feedback. Yeah.
Well, it does, and it's all on a path.
Yeah.
And we don't have to think that if we hit a brick wall, that it was there to harm us or to block us. It was simply giving us an opportunity to explore more of ourselves.
Yeah. And it's like the feather in the brick, isn't it? Sometimes it takes some of us a little while when something just sort of knocks us out over in a sense, gives us a big poke or a little soft feather, so it just depends on ourselves and our own awareness, which is a metaphysical state. Awareness is a metaphysical state of being, to be open to receive those messages.
I agree with you 100%, and I can see that Natasha does too. Natasha, do you have anything to add here?
No, I agree exactly with what Denise said. Yep.
Could I mean, we're going to be closing off in a few minutes. We got a late start, so we probably have a few minutes longer than we would, we have a few minutes left. One of the things that people talk about when they're talking about metaphysical, reaching the metaphysical state, a lot of times they'll go to the dream states, lucid dreaming, connecting to other realms, that the dream seems so real that sometimes when they wake up, they're not sure which realm they've woken up into. Have either of you had experience with lucid dreaming or waking up into a dream, waking up again into another dream and another dream before you somehow seem to wake up back into your real world?
So for myself, it's very simple. Like I said, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and in our training and in my personal experience, the dream state is one of the ways in which the subconscious mind can communicate with our conscious minds. There's only two ways in which the subconscious mind can actually communicate. One is through the physical body, and one is through the dreams. And there are 3 stages of dreaming, and the messages that come are bifurcated accordingly. There's also another part that I have actually understood, aside from this messaging, is that for us humans, when we sleep, it's like we're plugging into the God source energy universe like a mobile phone on charge. That's when our healing happens, mind, body, and soul. That's when downloads come. That is where you can astral travel. That is where you can enter interdimensional stuff. It depends on your awareness and your intention and your readiness. And again, that's mind, body, and spirit readiness. So again, each one's path is unique, and this portal is open to anyone who wants to explore it. But in the 101 level, it is a literal treasure trove of your subconscious mind, which is 90% of your mind, vis-a-vis 10% conscious mind, which has a store of all your experiences and beliefs and values in this lifetime and across all lifetimes, all dimensions, and the whole of universal consciousness as well, and experience as well, all available to you to dip into while you're sleeping. So it is a treasure trove if one chooses to dip in and do analysis and, really, be curious. There's a lot available. And it goes way beyond Freud's dream dictionaries or anything you can Google that, oh, I dreamt of a snake and what does it mean? It's a study and a science and a world unto its own completely.
Yeah.
But
And
again,
I think
everyone experiences it individually and uniquely.
I'd like to add that a lot of people will wake up somewhere around 3 o'clock, 3:37, 3:40, 3:45 at night, having woken up from some kind of a dream state, a deeper dream state. And do you have any recommendations for them, Natasha? What can they do at that time when they've woken up and maybe there is a download that is still fresh in their mind, or their connection is not yet quite broken, where they can, in an aware state, ask questions, get answers, anything like that?
So if you're asking very specifically about a 3:47, 3:57, then I'm assuming that it is a normal person who goes to sleep at a normal
Yeah,
time of 10 a.m.
yeah.
10 p.m. and then has woken up 5 or 6 hours. That means they were in REM state, they were in the middle of the night, and the dreaming that they would be having at that time would be the second stage of dreaming, which is the predictive stage of dreaming, and probably the discomfort of that wakes them up. The point is not to get lost in the story. It's the same thing as our incarnation. What Denise was saying, this is just the story. It really doesn't matter. We need to realize that we need to be able to transcend above all of it. Just take the messages for what they are. And like I said, the example that you gave is like a normal person who sleeps at 10,
Yeah.
waking up at 4. There are people who work the graveyard shift, and for them this could look like a 9 a.m. or a 10 a.m. The point is that if you wake up mid-sleep, that means that your subconscious has reached the stage that it's sifting through what you went through in the day and what you're going through at that point in time in your life, and it's processing all of that stuff. And it's called predictive, not meaning that that is exactly what's going to happen, but is the subconscious mind um balancing your experience vis-a-vis the data that is collected from your entire lifetime. And it's saying that, listen, if you continue like this is the likely outcome. And that's what makes us uncomfortable. So if you're going through financial stress, for example, at 3:57, you may dream of sitting on the crossroad with a begging bowl in your hand. That doesn't mean that you are definitely going to end up poor and homeless, but it means if you don't get up and figure things out, that is the likely outcome. And that's what makes us uncomfortable, because of the conscious mind isn't ready to accept what the subconscious mind is predicting.
Love that.
But that's like an entire lesson in like less than 5 minutes. So I'm sorry if I couldn't.
No. You know what? It is
effectively.
it is one perspective. It's one perspective that I'm actually going to debate just a little bit. But before I do, Denise, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'd love to. What I know is that when we go into dream state, we've dropped everything that we've done for the day, but it's like our subconscious, everything we're not willing to say, do, be on where we are now in our life, it'll play out in our dream state. And like Natasha says, it's just messages. It's messages to say, oh, I'm taking my anger out on somebody else. That's why I'm in an aggressive dream. Or I'm just really scared. I'm running away from something. So what am I running away in during my day life? My awake life. It's just, I know that when we go into dream state, it's like we talk about the physical body, the spiritual body, and the soul body. Our spiritual body, we're connected. And so we're able to go into dream state, which is another dimension where we all go and play, so to speak. And some go into really rough terrain, some go into, but all it's doing is playing out everything you're not willing to look at here in my daily life. So that it's messages to give you to say, hey, you need to look at this, or hey, you need to do this. That's what I know dream state to be as. And when we
absolutely, that's why as a hypnotherapist, every time I get a new client, the first thing that I get them to do is to start keeping a dream journal, which is just a scratch pad on their bedside table and a pen, so that they get up and they just jot notes, because it's your own mind giving messages to your own self, and only you can interpret it and only you can understand. Like what you were saying about being scared or running away. Is it only being chased, or are you running away from something, or what are you really afraid of? What's happening? There are so many layers, and only the individual can answer it.
Oh, absolutely. It's such like you said before, it's such an individual journey. No one has the same answer.
No, they don't.
What I'm going through, you're not going. You can give me a perspective, but I have my own answers. Absolutely. Because we innately have them. So, and a lot of people who don't remember their dream state, because there's dreaming and there's dream state. If they don't remember their dream state, they don't want to know, because they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to know what the truth of themselves are to be able to work through their journey. And dreaming, I know dreaming as some parts of dreaming is where our guides are really giving us a push to give us big messages to say, hey, you need to really take a look at that.
And here we are. This is where I'm going to jump in. Okay. Because we've heard the psychological, we've heard the hypnotherapist, we've heard the person who has studied it. And what I've learned from my own experience, and I haven't studied it the way that both of you have. I've been a channeler since I was a child. And what I discovered when I started waking up at 3:37 every night, and I didn't go to bed at 10. I usually went to bed at 11:30, 12, 12:30. I'm not an early to bed, early to rise kind of person. What I would find is that I would be woken with a question. And the question would be something I'd never thought about before. It had nothing to do with my life. It was always a universal question. It was a question about humanity in general. And then I would answer the question based on my knowledge. And then I would ask another question. I'd say, tell me more about this. And they would ask another question. I would answer, but no, tell me more. And then more of the learning, the teaching would come through, which is very different, I believe, from what you're saying, Natasha and Denise, is that I wasn't playing out my day because the experiences that were being open to me were experiences I'd never had in my life. And perhaps they were epigenetic, perhaps they were ancestral. I don't know, but I do know that that went on for years. And I wrote journal. I've got a trunk. I don't know if people can see it. See that red trunk behind me? Half that trunk is filled with journals.
Nice.
Other journals got lost in my various moves, but everything that I know, as a spiritual person, I know based on those 3:37 in the morning conversations, with guides that I had never met, whose names I didn't know. I didn't even need to know because the information that I was being given was so loving and so beautiful and so kind, and none of it was anywhere that I was lost in deep inside myself. So could we say that there are different dream experiences, there are different reasons that people could be woken up? And it doesn't always have to be about the things that we're afraid to face in our lives. It could be about the beautiful journey that we're being opened to.
Yeah, I'd love to put in there. It's like once you shift through like this journey that you go on through the emotional and you letting all that go and you're stripping all that away, when you go into sleep state, then you're inviting higher beings to come and teach you, to come and show you. And that's what I would say that what was happening with you is
Well,
that
see,
that you go in there. And if you go to sleep with the intention that I would love people to come and teach me, spirits to come and
mhm.
teach me this, you'll find that your knowledge will actually grow in that,
I
like
didn't invite.
yourself.
I didn't invite them. They just showed
No,
up. And
yeah.
I loved it because, and it was interesting because I might be awake for an hour and a half. I had to be up at 6:30 in order to be out of the house before 7:30 to get to work by 9 o'clock. And when I woke, I'd go back to sleep after writing all this stuff for as long as it took. But when I woke up, perhaps an hour and a half later, I was so energized, so fresh. It was a very different experience, and they still do wake me
Beautiful.
middle
Yeah.
in the middle of the night. And if I look at the clock and go, oh, it's 3:30. So what are we talking about tonight? Yeah, okay, let's talk. But I love what Natasha says, and I love what you were saying, Denise, is that there are many times when the scary things that wake us are, as you say, those unresolved issues that we have to work through if we're going to reach that level of comfort in our lives. So we are probably at this wonderful point. I'd like to thank you. I've got so many more questions, but we're not going to ask them this time. Thank you for bringing all of your combined knowledge. Really and truly, we did touch on the metaphysical. We touched on the physical. We touched on how they interact and interweave and interlace with each other, which was the intention of the conversation. Now it's your opportunity to tell us a little bit more about yourself, reminding you have maybe a minute and a half or two to talk a little bit about yourself. And if there's something special that you're offering to our viewers, that information will be put into the comments below this panel discussion when it is released in its replay version. So, Natasha, how would you like to start? Tell us a little bit more about you, and if you've got something that you would like to offer our viewers.
So, aside from being a clinical hypnotherapist, I'm a 5-time best-selling author. I am a speaker and a mentor. I work with money, mindset, manifestation. I have conversations about death. I don't have any offers or programs on right now, but there's a lot of stuff brewing. So if anyone wants to just follow me on Instagram, the updates will be there. I have 2 Instagram handles. One is my author name, which is NS Shakti. So on Instagram, I'm nsshakti.author on Instagram, and I'm bodyspeak.in on Instagram. So if you'd like to follow me, the information will follow.
We'll find you
Thank
there.
you.
That information
Yes.
actually will be in the comments below. Natasha, are you running any of our tribes at Sacred U? Do you
I
have a
am.
tribe
I
at
have
Sacred?
the money mindset manifestation magic tribe on Thursdays, Australian daylight, 8:30 a.m.
Beautiful.
every Thursday.
So if anybody wants to connect with Natasha, now you have several ways. Her tribe information will also be put into the comments, so you can find her there. If you're not yet a member of Sacred You, I'll give you information on that in just a few moments. Thank you,
Thank you, Sue.
Natasha. Denise, do you have anything that you would like to share about yourself that you haven't already shared, or that you'd like to reinforce? And do you have an offer for our viewers?
Yeah, just the same as before, is that I support and teach people how to self-heal. And, this was just such a wonderful talk, a chat about how, and I weave through all of those in my sessions with people. So this was just so perfect for that. And if anyone just wants to have a chat to see how they can get started on their journey, because sometimes that's the hardest part, is people just don't know where to begin, and and just steer them in the right direction. And I know there's a lot of stuff out there, and it's just about what you're looking for. So sometimes that conversation is really good to have. And it doesn't mean that you have to stay with me. As long as you're growing and you're learning about yourself, and your journey back to yourself is just love, truth, and humility, that just lights me up. So, and if you continue that with somebody else, that's just perfect. So yeah, you can contact me. My details will be there. Or I can put my phone number in as well. I can have a chat for 90 minutes. Just get me on my calendar on my webpage. And also follow me on Instagram. It's just Denise Blackney. Well, not just Denise. Pretty okay, I am. Denise Blackney on Instagram and Facebook. So if you'd love to follow and have a chat there as well. So, yeah. So
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And all that information will be put in the comments below.
Yeah,
our angels and our tech fairies will make sure that all that information is where it's supposed to be when the replay is up.
Yeah.
So I'm Sue Rumack, and I am an overwhelmed not a therapist, but an overwhelmed life coach and strategist. I take highly sensitive people who are verging on burnout and give them the tools and the hand-holding that they need to manage the overwhelm, both energetically and also using somatic healing, and going into that identity piece of who am I in all of this, that I need to own a little bit differently. And so basically we're working on overwhelm strategies, inside out healing, and energy work that gets you protected from the overwhelm that may be burning you out. Again, slightly metaphysical, but not entirely. My information is below. If anybody would like to talk to me, I offer a 60 to 90 minute next steps blueprint discovery session. It's a conversation. And like Denise said, we talk. And if something resonates, if it fits, fantastic. You walk away with a replay and with a written blueprint of what your next steps could be. And if it resonates and we decide to work together, amazing. And if not, you've got a blueprint that you can take anywhere else and work with them as well. So that is how you can reach us. Next, how would you like to reach sacredyou.love? That's the next piece. Sacredyou.love is the host of this conversation, of this panel, and is also a community of spiritually minded people and spiritually connected entrepreneurs as well, who are looking for the kind of community that lets them feel safe and connected, educated, and with people who are like themselves and safe, just very safe. If you've enjoyed this conversation, there are 17 more tribes at Sacred You that hold conversations like this, if not once a week, once every 2 weeks. And it's small groups of small interest groups, from Feng Shui to EFT tapping to Natasha's money. What do you call it? Money management?
It's money, mindset, manifestation, magic.
Beautiful.
MMMM.
I love it. Okay. And we've got all kinds of There's human design. There's my tribe, Life Force Activators. There are so many more tribes that you have an opportunity to explore. Now, if you do decide to check out sacredyou.love, just go to sacredyou.love, not .com, but .love. Click on the link, and you'll see that there is a $1, $1 US 2-week trial that you can take. It gives you access to absolutely everything in our archives, everything that's going on live for 2 weeks, all of the tribes for you to touch into, see which ones you like. You will also probably be contacted by somebody, so you can ask your questions, like a welcome wagon conversation telling you how it all works and where to find things and how to connect with people. If at the end of the 2 weeks you absolutely love it, you want more and more and more, don't do a thing, and your credit card will be charged for a monthly fee of $30, 30 US dollars, for which you have access to so much, and especially people like Natasha and Denise and myself and so many more. If you decide that you do not want to remain in Sacred You for any reason, you'll go to your profile picture in the top right-hand corner, click on your picture, and go to billings and just put unsubscribe. There's a button, and you'll be unsubscribed. And you can just stay in our free Facebook group forever, taking advantage of whatever we offer you there. And there's so much there as well. So 2 ways to connect with us: the free Facebook group, where you are watching us right now, or in LinkedIn, or any of the other places that we're streaming to. But sacredyou.love is really, really, really where you want to go to figure it all out and to stay connected with us. Ladies, is there anything you would like to say before we end our evening?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to say to everyone out there, the journey begins with you. The choice is yours. And when you choose you, that's when you start to open. But you have to choose it. No one can choose it for you. And then your world will change around you. And it's not going to be all roses. It's going to be a journey of uncovering, because you've got to unlearn what you've learned to find
Beautiful.
you. Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely thing to end with. Natasha, is there anything else that you'd like to
Just
share?
perfect. That's just
Another word.
perfect.
Okay.
Perfect way to wrap up the conversation.
I think so
I
too.
completely agree.
Sophia, are you? I know we can see your picture there. Are you here with us? Oh, I think she is. There she
Not
is.
at all.
Sophia.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much, truly. Thank you for that. No, that was a wonderful conversation. And I look forward to round 2.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I do. I do.
You'd like
I
us to
really
do this
think-
again?
I think we have to have round 2 soon.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
a gentle hint, but no, thank you for that. Thank you for Maymoon, who's put everyone's links in, and for everyone who's watching. Click on the links below and connect with these amazing women. Definitely, absolutely, and thank you.
Ladies,
Thank
you
you.
have been amazing. Your presence here just totally and completely made this conversation so unique and so different. You brought so much groundedness to the metaphysical, but you also let us just spread our wings and fly as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.